Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good day I bid to everyone. So today we are going to share our finding beside of our case study regarding the learning style. This is the part of our course requirement. So let me introduce our team first. We have Arif, Afif, Iskandar, Kevin, and me, Suhail.
Okay, so we're going to look at our introduction. So learning styles can be defined and classified and identified in many different ways. So we know that we have three learning styles, which is auditory, kinesthetic, and visual. So in our case study, we specify our study to learning style in mathematics or equivalent subject among UTM students. Okay, so our objective, our problem statement, our findings is further elaborated on our report.
Moving on to our objective of study, so we have some objective to identify demographic data, to study the main learning style, and also to interpret the overall findings. Okay, so for our method, we are using Google Forms. Okay, as it is the most easiest way to blast our questionnaire into the respondents and into our targeted sample. Okay, so here are our descriptive data collections. Okay, we have variables, type of variables, level of measurement, and also representation. Okay, so here our sample UTM students. So the population. Okay, we have UTM students, and also our sample is 100 students of UTM.
So this diagram show a pie chart of the gender of our respondent. So from the indicator right here, we can see that the blue represent the male respondent, while the pink represent the female respondent. So for the male, we have 56%, and for female, we have 44%. And since the total of our respondent is 100, so we could also say that 56 people of our respondent are male, and 44 people of our respondent are female.
So here we have the data for the age. From this data, we want to make the stem and leaf plot. In order to make the stem and leaf plot, we have to identify the leading value. In this case, it's 1 and 2, because we only have data from the 10s and the 20s. And this will become our stem. So in order for us to go and search for the leaf, we look at the frequency or percentage. Because we have 5 people in the age of 18, we write 5, 8. We have 17 people in the age of 19, we write 17, 9. And the same for the age of 20 and 21 and above. So that's how we make the stem and leaf plot. Okay, so here we have the faculty data, and from this faculty data we can look at here all the respondents from all the faculty, from Faculty of Engineering and so on. Here we have over 100 samples of data, and transform these data into bar chart using R programming. And from this bar chart you can see the major respondents. The major respondents comes from the Faculty of Engineering for over 55% from all the respondents. Thank you.
So I will present what mathematics score during sesi pelajaran Malaysia is our equivalent. This is table to present about the score. Let's present. So this is the first 0 to 20. The percent is 0. 21 to 14% is 0, and 41 to 16% to 2, and 61 to 18% 20, and 81% to 100% 78. This is the diagram range number of student for math score range. This is number for student. The first, okay, this is the 41 to 16, the range, and this number 2 range is for 61 to 18, and the higher range, this is 18 to 100. For the data, we can say that is not responding, who got score of 0 to 14. The data begin with 2% of student optionals marked in examination. Finally, the major contribution to the description is 78% for students who achieving seen mathematics with score of 81 to 100%. Okay, this is the how often students study maths in a week. And for data for sample data, 100 sample. And then this the block plot diagram. Frequency of study math. One is 0 time is 1%. 1 times is 11%. 2 time is 1319. This and 3 times 28%. So the 4 time and above 24. This is the block plot for often study math. In this study, we can say that majority of UTM students talk two time a week in here. So this to study math and or equivalent subject is a contributes the higher percent of 19%. Then followed by 28% this, so and 24% this, so spend 3 and 4 time to study prospectively. Okay, thank you.
Next, we are looking at the duration of math study in a week. Okay, so our data is in hours. Okay, we put in class interval 0 to 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and so on. Okay, also here is the frequency and class cumulative frequency. We represent our findings using histogram, okay, using R programming, and here we can see that our histogram is skewed to the right, okay, positively skewed. Also, we calculate some data, which is mean, mode, median, sample variance and sample standard deviation using the previous formula that we learned in PSDA. And also here we represent the previous data using a frequency distribution graph. Okay, also using R programming language.
Okay, for the learning style inventories, we had prepared 9 questions in our questionnaire to ask the students about what type of learner they are in mathematics. There are 3 questions for visual learner, 3 questions about kinesthetic learner, and 3 questions about auditory learner. Okay, for each question, there are 3 types of answers, which is strongly agree, slightly agree, and disagree. The points distribution for the responses is, for strongly agree is 2 points, slightly agree 1 point, and disagree 0 point. Okay, from this table we can see the data that we have gathered from our questionnaire. So this one is for the strongly agree, this one is for slightly agree, and this one is for disagree. Okay, for the total point, we are going to multiply the strongly agree with 2 plus with slightly agree responses by 1. Okay, from this table, we have plot a scatter plot where the y-axis is for the number of students and the x-axis for their opinion or the student opinion on learning style. Okay, where the dot will determines the number of students that, okay, for example, this dot determine how much students has disagree about on the auditory questions, and this one how much student that disagree with the kinesthetic questions, and so on. Okay, okay, for the next part is how do we calculate the number of students for each learning style. Okay, for our project, we use the total points accumulated by the specific learning style divided by the total points that has been gathered for the all 3 learning style. Okay, okay, for example, for visual learner, we gathered 341 points divided by the total points, which is the 1156. We got approximately 30 students prefer visual learning in mathematics. And for kinesthetic learner, we got 32 students that prefer kinesthetic. For the auditory, we got 38. Okay. From this data, 30 and 32 and 38, we can plot a pie graph like this, where 32 for kinesthetic, 30 for visual, and auditory 38. Since there are 100 UTM students that responded in this questionnaire, we can conclude that 38% of UTM students preferred auditory method, 32% of them prefer kinesthetic, while 30% prefer visual method when studying mathematics. So we can say that lecturers maybe need to be more versatile, or so they can meet with each student's preferences. Okay, thank you.
As a conclusion, I think we managed to achieve our objective on doing our project. First, we are able to identify the demographic data among UTM students. We are also able to study the main learning style that used by UTM students in mathematics or mathematics equivalent subjects, and interpret that data into the form of Waris graph that used in our project. We also realized the importance of statistic tools in mostly on managing big data. The most recent example is on COVID-19 infection. We are able to identify the peak on COVID-19 infection. And overall, I think we did a really good job on finishing and managing our project. And hopefully we are able to study data related subject in a much further level. Thank you.